So while I was watching Invincible's season finale and enjoying the exciting fight scenes, Mark finally using his head more, everything is going great. Until the near end of the episode where I see someone doing something extremely stupid, and it came from the person I least expected. Cecil Stedman, the director of the Global Defense Agency, a smart, logical person, a cautious man, a man willing to go against his morals to save the world. But somehow, his brain worked out some miracles, and the only thing he could come up with to lock up Conquest, freaky Superman, a guy he deems stronger than Nolan, is a giant block of metal, with his head sticking out like a bulge from an unzipped pants. We might as well trap him in a haystack. Fuck, or he could just deploy in Business Baby as the guard, and the chances of Conquest escaping would already decrease by 70% or 100 if it's doing overtime. I mean, have you seen the moves he's pulling? God fucking damn, literal chills. Bruce Lee has been real quiet ever since Business Baby took his first breath. That's all I'm saying. We all get it, what Cecil did is really stupid, it's no secret to the universe, but I don't think Cecil's brain is flooded with cat piss to keep Conquest alive, but it's the way he did it that makes him a big fat clown. It doesn't even make sense for Cecil to do such a dumb act. Cecil is supposed to be smart, and what he does up until now, for the most part, would back up that statement. Example, in the first season, after Omni-Man defeated the Tentacle Kaiju and Donald, the people's goat, the unsung hero, and Cecil's personal sloppy top machine came to the crime scene, Donald reports that this creature had Omni-Man on the ropes like never before, so Cecil tells Donald to take the kaiju in just in case, and it was proven useful when Omni-Man went on a rampage, and it was able to stop him for a really long time. It even got him hitting the Honored One post. That's some real serious deadly shit right there, and best part is, he works for free, don't even gotta pay him a single dime. So without Mark coming in, Nolan would be in some serious deep shit. Cecil is thinking ahead, using his brain, something he lost in the season finale. And there's the time Mark had to fight against a mutated lobster, and he was doing fine against the sea creature until it decided to start singing, and unaware of the fact that it sounds like a gaping anus, so this dealt severe damage to Mark's eardrums, completely taking him out of the fight. So seeing that a specific frequency could deal critical damage to Mark, a half Viltrumite, he decided to have the people at the lab recreate that exact same sound for future purposes, for when another Viltrumite eventually lands on Earth and attempts to rip the entire planet apart. And he even installed the sonic device in Mark's head, even though the guy's been working for him the entire time. He's a very cautious guy, cause even though Mark never showed any signs he wanted to take over the world, and him fighting his dad is a pretty big proof he's against that idea. However, Cecil knows that if Mark were to turn on Earth all of a sudden, nothing can really stop him. They're all defenseless, basically ants waiting to be trampled, which is why he installed that as a safety precaution. And it was proven useful when Mark was walking him down when they had a disagreement, and when he broke into the Pentagon, destroyed a bunch of stuff, and casually flew off. Cecil always makes rational choices, even though it's pretty nasty to install a remote bomb in the head of the guys who's Earth's last savior. And there's Sinclair and Darkwing, who Cecil brought in and have them work for him. One is a psychotic murderer who has a strong robot fetish, and another is Batman who kills. Which personally, I don't even think Darkwing is that bad and would agree with the idea of killing criminals. But of course, it also depends on the severity of their crimes. Example, if a dude is jaywalking on a free empty road in the middle of the night and all of a sudden, the bat signal goes up and Darkwing just glides in with his bat cape from Timu with a pair of brass knuckles and just starts blasting the guy's head and has his brain splatter all over the sidewalk like the guy just fucked his wife, then that's a tiny bit of an overreaction. And now that I think about it, that's probably what he was doing. But Sinclair is way worse by a fucking 1,000 million miles, it's not even close. Main point is, it's morally wrong to work with criminals. These guys kill people, bad shit needs to be locked up. But truth is, in the big picture, working with them would help them out a lot since they have great potential. So instead of leaving useful talents to rot in prison, Cecil decided to reform them. So his decisions aren't emotion based, which leads to smarter choices. Then there's also a Cecil backstory showing his level of intelligence. This is when Cecil gets imprisoned for killing two villains who were reformed and are now working for the GDA. At first he was against it cause it's unethical, the same reaction Mark had when he found out he was working with Darkwing and Sinclair. So Cecil gets locked up and his cellmate is a smurf who mega overdosed on super mushrooms. Cecil is basically the size of this guy's Nutella ass biscuit. However, instead of being mauled, he somehow brought order to the prison. So clearly, he's more than just a guy. He's either performing witchcraft in that cell and giving out free hardcore wedgies to all the prisoners, or he's just a really intelligent and manipulative man. And I really enjoy watching these kinds of characters cause he works in the gray area and does whatever it takes to get the most ideal end result, Which is what makes them so interesting, because you'll never know what kind of shit they'll pull out of their ass next. It's a surprise, it keeps you guessing. You know, unlike a character like Mark, who's just a cliche good guy superhero, killing bad, save people, fuck yeah, flies with two fists in the sky. Nice. Alright, so now that I went over some of these smart Cecil moments that I remember, let's cut back to the season 3 finale, where his brain has slipped out of his skull and slid down and out of his chocolate asterisk. So after the insane battle between Mark and Conquest, which was absolutely insane to see, the fight, the animation was stunning. Like this scene right here, they had no reason to animate every single atom of Mark's movements, but they did, and I'm grateful for. Also, Oliver's balls are galactic to stand up to Conquest and come back for round 2 after getting slapped into adulthood 5 minutes ago. And Mark's line was extremely nice. Amazing stuff. Okay, so after Mark headbutts Conquest out of existence, Cecil decides to lock Conquest up instead of killing him off. Which I don't think it's a brain damage move. Cecil is definitely still in the right mind here to want to interrogate him and learn more about Viltrumites and ways to kill them. When more of them eventually come to Earth, he's gonna need that information. He's thinking about the future and looking at the big picture. Classic Cecil Masterclass 101, great stuff. However, it's the way he locked him up is what makes him such a massive disappointment. Cause there are so many other things he could do to Conquest other than this tungsten steel alloy, 400 tons of Viltrumites cotton candy, and bombs. Which wouldn't even tickle his nutsack. I mean, does the guy look like he's here to play games? No, he's the goddamn developer. Also, these bombs wouldn't even work cause he did try bombing Nolan before and that did fuck shit nothing. He just flew right off. He had to use the gigantic space beam thing to hit him, not once, but twice, only to make his nose bleed. So, in my opinion, I think the creator with the almighty pen absolutely scammed Cecil here. Or perhaps the Cecil is an imposter, because if the Cecil we know sees this 400 tons of joke, he would call himself a dumbass and slap the shit out of his ass. So here are some things Cecil could have done to redeem himself from this dire state. And these things are just things I came up with from the top of my head while watching the season finale. So there's no reason for a guy like Cecil to not be able to think of shit like these. So first off, install the same sonic device he did on Mark in Conquest's head. That's a no-brainer, and put about 500 of them or however much it'll take to make sure once turned on, his head will pop in 10 seconds. I know that's probably impossible, but just give him hell, make him feel immense pain. And there's plenty of space to stuff those devices in cause Conquest's head is basically a watermelon that's been repeatedly bashed by a sledgehammer. Step 1, complete. Step 2, tear him apart. Remove all his limbs, turn him into Exodia, have the dude look like the guy in Robocop. Pretty sure the Invincible universe would have more than enough equipment to keep him alive in that state. They were able to bring Rex back after his brain tasted a bullet. It even made him a better person, made him a much more likable character. So I'm positive they can tear Conquest apart and somehow have him still breathing. Oh fuck, but they can't cut through his skin. Okay, never mind, I just had a come to God moment and now all I see is the truth. So there's really nothing else he could do to Conquest other than sound devices. So they gotta surround the entire place with speakers and blast that noise 24/7 and they better pray none of the shit breaks, cause one little interception and he's gone. And so is the entire planet. But that is still way better than this giant metal square, essentially styrofoam for Viltrumites. I mean, this metal must be handcrafted by God himself for Cecil to have that much faith in them. But as of now, if it isn't obvious enough, once Conquest wakes up, he is flying the fuck out of there. And once that happens, it would be a massive dump in the faces of all the superheroes who worked their asses off to stop him. Like Mark, Oliver, and Mark, and Eve, who is doing God's work out there. Also, we can't forget about the Immortal who yelled from the bottom of his lungs, "Leave that boy alone and pick on someone your own size," while he's taking a hot bath with Kate in the mountains. But yeah, now that I realize it's only sound waves that they have, then keeping Conquest alive is some real risky, terrible shit. Maybe the entire idea is just dumb and he's better off just turning him into a reaniman. Though Sinclair would probably be old and rusty by the time he's able to penetrate his skin, but yeah. Fuck it, case closed, Cecil's fucking stupid, can't defend him, 400 tons of fucking around and disappointment.